Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk Farmers. I am your host, Hannah Schaefer, and tonight our guest is Darius Farmer, an expert on the world of soil judging. Thanks for coming to the show, Darius.
Thank you.
So Darius, for our viewers who might not know what soil judging is, can you tell us a little bit about soil judging, how you got involved?
Yeah, sure. So the way I got involved with soil judging was I was in class in high school when I was a sophomore. I was in an agriculture class, and the teacher was asking if people would be interested in doing soil judging. And I'd heard of some friends doing it and having a lot of fun from it, so I figured I'd take a shot at it, and I was actually really good. And so what soil judging involves is just going to a site that through FFA or 4-H they've put aside, and they have a big hole in the ground about 5 feet deep, and you go and you look at the soil and see what kind of information you can gather from that and answer questions about the soil and use those answers to decide what the best practice is and how you can really get the most out of that specific type of soil for either your crops or for a building.
So what makes someone good at soil judging? Like, how do you practice that? Or
Well, really, it's just from experience.
Okay.
It was really just a matter of seeing a bunch of different types of dirt and being able to tell the differences between them. So the best way is just from experience. And then aside from that, the part that involves what kind of practices to use based on what you can assess from the site is just memorization. So that part was really easy. The hard part is trying to figure out the difference between something that's moderately clayey and very clayey, things like
Okay.
that. So
yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, so what kind of like senses are typically used in soil judging? So obviously you look at it, but can you like
yeah.
taste it, or you?
Yeah, so you look at it, and that can be really important to see different things. And based on what you see, you can kind of take different directions with how you want to feel it or whatever. But feeling it is another important step in deciding what type of material it is or how much clay is involved. A lot of realizing how much clay is in the soil is a really important factor.
Yeah, yeah. So we have a photo here of some soil, and obviously it's just a photo, so it can only tell us so much, but just based on the photo, what can you tell us about this dirt?
Yeah, so you can see a really predominant dark layer at the very top, and that is obviously your topsoil. And how dark it is, that's really good. It could probably be a little darker, but it's good enough. And you can see that it's very flat, and so from that you can assume that it doesn't have very much erosion. This is probably a pretty flat area. The red at the bottom is an indicator that it's probably holding a lot of water also as it gets deeper. And so the reason why that turns red is just rust and iron in the ground and the oxygen from the water having a chemical reaction to turning that red. But the fact that there's that brown layer in between the two shows that the water it's dropping down to the red, so that's good to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So based on this picture, what kind of stuff would you recommend being planted here, or?
Yeah, I mean, basically you could plant anything here. You have plenty of topsoil for any type of crop, so really it's up to whoever is farming it and the climate that this specific area experiences. But aside from that, it looks like you could grow just about anything as long as it isn't something that needs to not have too much water.
Yeah. So what kind of dirt would you recommend for like a building that doesn't need any water, or, I mean,
Yeah, for something like that, you would probably want something that probably allows water to flow through a little bit better than this.
Okay.
You'd probably want to see a little bit more rocks and bigger particles to allow the water to flow through. But I mean, this wouldn't be the worst place, especially if you're up on a hill.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Darius, that's all the time we have for today, but thank you for being on the show this week.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Thank you, viewers, for watching. Stay tuned next week for our professional weed charmer.